Right, so hello, welcome back to the channel. And is Mikel Arteta holding Arsenal back? Because what he's actually done for Arsenal over the past 3-4 years, it's been brilliant, and he got them in a title race last year. Alright, they collapsed near the end of it, but he still got them there, and they seem to be ahead of schedule. But can he be the man to really take them that next step? But before I get into that, just want to say a massive thank you to everyone as the channel hit 300 subscribers, which is amazing. I didn't think I'd get there that quick, so thank you very much to everyone for watching and supporting. And if you would like to share around this video and subscribe, it massively makes a difference. I'm a bit ill right now, that's why I've not really posted recently, but let's get back into it. Thank you again. Now, when Arteta took over at Arsenal, it was a bit of a big gamble anyway, because they tried Unai Emery, this sort of big name cup success, and it didn't really work out. I mean, he looked on paper to be a perfect heir to the Arsene Wenger era, but Arteta came in and Arsenal were not in a great position. But over the next few years, 8th place, but they won an FA Cup, and slowly but surely he got them all the way to 2nd last year. But the thing that's not really highlighted about their season last year, yes, they pushed Man City to the edge, kind of, not really. I mean, they definitely threw it away with winnable games in there that they just ended up drawing, and they had a complete collapse when Saliba went off injured and had no cover for him. But alongside that, they went out of every cup competition pretty early, which meant they could just focus on the league, and that was their best chance to win it, because City were going for the treble, yes, but they're still in all these competitions. If Arsenal just focused on that one pure competition of the Premier League, you've got to end up winning it, otherwise the season, it's a very overrated one. Now, yes, they did win the Community Shield earlier in the season, but as I highlighted in a previous video, who actually cares about that? And evidently no one, because it didn't get a lot of views, but that's okay. It just proved my point further, really. No one cares about the Community Shield. It's a glorified friendly. You look at the one the season before that with Liverpool and Man City, and look, Haaland had a shocker of a game, Núñez had a screamer of a game. Oh, is Núñez going to be better than Haaland? What a ridiculous question that was. And again, this one, yeah, they beat Man City. Man City couldn't care less about the Community Shield. They couldn't. As I mentioned, Arteta has won the FA Cup with Arsenal before, and look, 2020, it was a weird one. It was the COVID year. I mean, I think that all these trophies are fine. A lot of people will say, especially when you look at the NBA or Liverpool's title, of, oh, well, it happened and there wasn't any fancy with Rangers' title in Scotland. A trophy's a trophy, and everyone's got the same conditions to play in, so it wasn't really an impressive run to the semi-final. I mean, they got Bournemouth, Leeds, Portsmouth, Sheffield United. They won all those games by 1 and 2 goals, and then after that they beat Man City 2-0, and Man City, something was off with them that year. I don't know, I just remember Leicester spanking 5 or 6 past them in the Etihad as well. It was a weird year for Man City. Then they beat Chelsea in the final 2-1. Again, Chelsea, very weird one, Champions League sort of team, but I don't know. Aubameyang got a brace in the final, and, you know, trophy's a trophy. Well done to Mikel Arteta for winning the FA Cup there. Now, if you were to take away those trophies, what has Mikel Arteta actually done? Because an FA Cup and a Community Shield, one's impressive, one's not really. One has an asterisk, but it really shouldn't have an asterisk. But what's he actually done? Well, he's brought in some youth players. He's brought in the likes of Saka, Martinelli, really developed them. But at this current point in their career, are they being overcoached? Because the way that Arteta's coaching, he tries to be a lot like Pep, and I mean, he just does. His antics on the sideline were very reminiscent of an early Pep Guardiola. Pep is a lot calmer now, but alongside that, he tries to get a similar style of play. He's trying to copy his literal tactics. It's like, do your homework, just make sure that it's not the same as the other person's, whilst looking at the other person, making it slightly different. he's a very similar mould. And Pep has only truly let one player properly express themselves and do whatever they want on the pitch, and that footballer is Lionel Messi, because you're not going to overcoach that guy, because when you overcoach that guy, you're not going to get the best out of him. Let him be free, let him do whatever he wants. But he's never really done that with any other players. You look at his time at Bayern Munich, he didn't really do that with Ribery or Robben. You started to see that they weren't as good as what they were in the 2013 season, and alongside that as well, you're looking at Mikel Arteta here. Saka, Martinelli, they used to run at defenders. Now they kind of run at defenders and try and make quick 1-2 passes, get around them that way, instead of doing tricks to get around them. It's just, they would be a lot better if they were giving a lot more freedom and not being as overcoached as Mikel Arteta is currently doing to them. Alongside that as well, what's happened to Emile Smith-Rowe? I know he's kind of had his injuries, but he's fallen completely out of favour with Mikel Arteta, and Arteta just seems to have lost trust in him. Now, that could be all on Emile Smith-Rowe, it might be all on Arteta, but it's a situation where if you're not going to be happy with a player, you give him the number 10 shirt, but you don't think he's in favour, sell him whilst his star is at its brightest, and at least try and recoup some money for him if you don't think he's going to be a great player. I get having squad players, having the likes of Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, not selling them, but Emile Smith-Rowe, someone would have paid big money for him. You look at the likes of Chelsea, who paid big money for Cole Palmer, and I think Cole Palmer's a brilliant player, but Chelsea or someone like that would have come in and bought him for 30-40 million. So if you don't think he's good, or if you think he's injury prone all the time, try and flog him off, get some money in. Now, Arteta has benefited this year and last year, especially because they've not really had any big injuries. Now, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but Saliba, as I mentioned earlier as well, they've got him and he's brilliant, but he was out injured for a wee bit off the end of last season and they crumbled. That's when their crumble really happened. The defence looks awful without him. There's no backup for him either. Then you have the likes of Jesus who got injured, but that didn't really affect them too much because Jesus is not a goal scorer, which we'll get onto in a bit. Then this year they've got Timber, but we've not seen enough of Timber so far anyway, so who actually knows if he is any good or not. But because they've not had as many injuries as the other teams, and realistically they've not had any other injuries of note, that's why they've benefited. Other teams have been hurt, they've been broken with the amount of football that's getting played, which is completely FIFA and UEFA's fault, but this just means at the exact same time that Arsenal have benefited from it, and realistically they should have won a cup last year, they should be pushing to win a cup this year, and they really should have gone a lot further in the title race last year. That is why I'm just not sold on Arteta, because for me as well, Arteta's not proven that he's brilliant with transfer money. Now, obviously he's going to have players and he's going to identify them. He's not in charge of the pricing, and I do understand that, but Zinchenko and Jesus last season, for me, massive waste of money. I don't see the benefits Zinchenko brings because defensively he is such a liability that there's actually no point in him being in the team. I'd much rather have a solid defender in defence than an attacker who can't defend. Am I crazy for saying that? Arsenal needed a goal scorer after Lacazette and Aubameyang left. They go and bring in Jesus, a proven goal scorer. Really? Really? How has he been a proven goal scorer any time in his career? So they were the major signings. Then they go sign Jorginho. I'm thinking that's a great, shrewd piece of business. They barely play the guy. They barely play Jorginho, a guy where the midfield is probably one of the weakest areas in the whole Arsenal team. That's where he should be playing, a guy who could just sit down, calm, right in front of the defence. It just makes no sense that he doesn't get any game time. Then this summer, again, what did they need? They needed a proven goal scorer. They go and get Kai Havertz. Did they not learn anything from the Gabby Jesus transfer? It baffles me. What they didn't need, a new number one. I mean, Ramsdale had a brilliant season last year. You have to give him another season this year, and then if you don't like him, you can bin him off. And bin him off. Number one goalkeepers, always bin them off if you don't like them or trust them, because there's no point in having them as a number two. What's the point of having Ramsdale as a number two and having Raya in from Brentford on loan, who they're going to sign for 40 million? Arteta, he doesn't seem to know exactly what he's doing with transfers. Granted, Declan Rice has come in. Declan Rice has been a great player, and he's brought in one or two other players as well, but his transfer record isn't great. So can Arteta be the man to really take Arsenal to new heights? For me, no, because Arteta, he's got no squad depth, he's got no goal scorer. The defence without Saliba looks awful. Players like Gabriel are not good enough. Ben White is not a right back, and I don't get why they wouldn't just try and make even a back three with them and play fullbacks there. It just makes no sense. The midfield is still missing one or two players in terms of squad depth and starting 11. Then, yes, they've got wingers, but the wingers are not in brilliant form at the minute. They've got no backup for those wingers, and they've not got a proven goal scorer in there at all amongst the goalkeeper situation. And this man, there's no shame in saying or admitting it if you're an Arsenal fan. He's a transitional manager. What I mean by that is Arsenal were in a hole. He has picked them out of the hole. It took time, but he got them out of the hole, and he should not be the one to take them on the journey. He should go his own separate way and go get some more coaching experience, because he doesn't have any proper managerial experience. Again, from Man City's bench into Arsenal's first team. It's a bit wild. Now, Unai Emery, I know it didn't work out for him at Arsenal the last time, but if you gave him this squad with the confidence that they have and seemingly the budget that they have, that they didn't have earlier on when he was in charge, he would do wonders with the squad. And even if it wasn't someone like Unai Emery, if they go out and they get someone like a Luis Enrique, a proven manager with a great track record in cup success, that's when Arsenal are really going to progress. But under Arteta, I just can't see it happening. Now, I do understand the fact that Emery probably doesn't want to go back to Arsenal. I mean, he seems quite happy at Aston Villa, and, you know, it didn't end in the nicest possible way for Emery. It didn't leave them in a great position. So I can't even see Arsenal really wanting to go back to Unai Emery. Then, of course, Luis Enrique is at a cushy job in PSG at the minute. He's earning a lot of money. He's going to win a lot of trophies there. I mean, can he win the European trophy with them? We'll have to wait and see. And good managers, they're really scarce right now. I mean, other than Pep, Klopp, Ancelotti, there's not a lot of brilliant managers that spring to mind. So Arsenal, if they were to get someone other than Mikel Arteta, they have to be very careful when thinking about it, but I can't see them progressing with Mikel Arteta. So that was my thoughts on the whole situation at Arsenal with Mikel Arteta. Do you think I'm completely wrong? Do you think Arteta is the right man? And if not, who do you think is? Please let me know in the comments below. Hopefully by the next video I'm a little bit better and sound a little bit better for your ears and viewing pleasure. But again, thank you so much for 300 subscribers. If you'd like to share, subscribe, and drop a like on it as well, that would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, cheers.